Andrew Holness, esteemed colleagues, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome this opportunity to engage with leaders in the South within the context of the second staging of the Voice of Global South Summit under the theme Global South Together for One Future. I commend Prime Minister Modi for this initiative during India's presidency of the G20 to foster inclusiveness through productive contributions from the South. I am pleased that the outcomes of the inaugural Voices of the South Summit had a profound impact on the discussions at the G20 Summit in New Delhi in September 2023. It is noteworthy that by virtue of the G20 New Delhi Leaders' Declaration, there was an undertaking to better integrate the perspectives of developing countries, including LDCs, LLDCs, and SIDS, into future G20 agenda and strengthen the voice of developing countries in global decision-making. This certainly bodes well for the forging of targeted and sustained partnerships within the Global South and with the countries of the G20. It is therefore essential that we continue to speak with one voice on the challenges we face and discuss ways to sustain the momentum generated from the first Voice of Global South Summit towards achieving increased growth and development through our shared aspirations for a more inclusive and equitable world order. An important concern for us is how highly indebted countries, especially small and vulnerable island developing states, are classified and unfairly positioned to access financing for development. Many of these countries, including Jamaica, are deemed to have graduated to middle income status by virtue of increased GDP per capita, but remain highly indebted and vulnerable to exogenous shocks, which continue to erode any development gains made. Small island developing states constitute 2/3 of the world that suffer the highest relative losses between 1% and 9% of their GDP each year from natural disasters and are acutely vulnerable to the impacts of climate change. This is why we support the development of a multi-dimensional vulnerability index at the multilateral level, whereby international financial institutions would consider the special situation of these countries seeking access to concessionary financing. A report of the high-level panel established to develop the index was released in September 2023. We are undertaking an in-depth review of the report, but we emphasize the importance of ensuring that there is a special case for small island developing states given our unique character. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, no one is insulated from the effects of climate change. However, for some of us, particularly SIDS like Jamaica, it is a clear and present danger threatening our very existence. Despite contributing the least to greenhouse gas emissions, we are the most impacted by an increase in the frequency and intensity of tropical cyclones, droughts, changing weather patterns, and coral bleaching. Notwithstanding, Jamaica is committed to the achievement of net zero fossil fuel production and to keeping the goal of 1.5 alive. We are playing our part through more ambitious nationally determined contributions. In March 2023, we tabled in our parliament an updated climate change policy framework and an emissions policy framework, which set out more measures to reduce all anthropogenic emissions, including greenhouse gases. Jamaica has also begun reforestation through a national project to plant 3 million trees in 3 years. To date, we have planted 2.7 million trees. Further, we have taken concrete measures to reduce plastic waste. We imposed a ban on certain types of plastics in a 3-phase approach, which started in 2019, And a fourth phase is upcoming. Despite our committed efforts, we cannot do it alone. It is essential for the Global South to take concerted action to accelerate and sustain the momentum gained at the G20 summit to ensure our G20 partners fulfill their commitments. In doing so, we must underline the urgent need for the rapid and substantial scaling up of investments and climate finance globally from all sources. We look forward to the implementation of the decision at COP27 on funding for loss and damage. We also urge developed countries to fulfill their commitment under the Glasgow Climate Pact to at least double their collective provision for adaptation finance from 2019 levels by 2025. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, digital transformation is another area of importance for Jamaica and indeed many of the countries in the South. At the G7 and China Summit, which was held in Havana in September 2023, Jamaica highlighted the findings of the 2023 UNCTAD report on technology and innovation, which reminds that there are windows of opportunity for the Global South. It posits that we can build resilience, grow stronger and more diversified economies, and move to better development trajectories with the wave of technological change assisted by renewable and other green technologies. To realize these benefits, developing countries must act now to advance strategic plans to fully incorporate science and technology into our development processes. Access to technology and bridging the digital divide remains a priority. The call, therefore, for the international community to foster an open, fair, inclusive, and non-discriminatory environment for scientific and technological development is still relevant for all of us in the Global South. We applaud India's pioneering role in the development of the digital public infrastructure model based on shared digital systems, built and leveraged by both the public and private sectors to enable population scale delivery of services. We look forward to investments and partnership with our fellow members of the Global South, as well as with the G20 countries, to accelerate our transition to a digital society. Again, I thank Prime Minister Modi and the government of India for the deliberate effort to promote inclusivity, collaboration, and consultation during its G20 presidency. And we hope that collectively we will continue on this course. Our people and our future depend on it. I thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. I now invite